Is this thing on?
Is the power plugged in? If not, reset. Alright, I have two things left. First off is who has a job lined up?
Well, after graduation?
Yeah, after graduation. What are you gonna be doing?
If I decide to do this, I have a job offer from the mission organization that I work for right now.
Okay. And what is that job doing?
What is it doing?
Yeah, what are you doing?
Oh, I'd be working in Norfolk with inner city kids.
Okay. And what's your current major?
Undecided.
That's my point. You said you have a job lined up?
Well, probably.
Probably, so that's a no. You have a job lined up?
No.
You?
No.
You?
You?
I think this is his job.
Actually, I actually spoke to a couple of people earlier today, faculty members, about introducing me to a couple of CEOs of companies that will be willing to pay for my master's program if I decide to get a job with them. So, yeah. I'll call that a probably yes. I also got,
well,
I
that
also,
doesn't count then.
I also got a scholarship from the National Science Foundation, and I have to go to a webinar, and the person who's in charge of the webinar told every single one of us that his sole job in being there is to make sure that the day after I get my bachelor's that I have a job. So yeah, I'm pretty sure I have a job when I graduate, yeah.
But it's not a yeah.
Oh, that's it, yeah. I actually got offered a job for $70,000 before I started coming to college, and I turned it down to actually meet him, so it's, for me to get a job really isn't that hard.
What motivated you to turn it down?
It's because I'm awesome, alright?
Yeah.
But, for those, what?
What motivated you to turn it down? To enhance your education or
No,
to get
I turned it down because I have 10 years of experience in the industry, and without a bachelor's degree, I would be stuck at that $70,000 cap. There's no upward momentum, there's no upward anything for me until I get a bachelor's. And I was working night shift, I just didn't want to deal with that. Plus, I would have to move to another state. It wasn't a good fit. The money was good, yes, but I'd be freaking miserable.
So, too many cons?
Yeah, too many cons that weren't worth the price. Plus, if I get a bachelor's degree, then my salary cap starts at like 80 grand. So,
Things a little more rewarding at that point.
exactly.
Not in terms of.
Make more money, work less.
I was gonna say, maybe more than just money.
My
More than you're getting pleasure out of what you learned to do. rather
my
than just-
goal in life is to put on a wonderful shirt, a dress shirt, tie, sit down on a chair in front of a computer and do a board meeting wearing nothing else because they can only see the upper part of my body, and then afterwards change into my golf clothes and go golfing, and that's my job for the day, and I get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's my goal.
Is that realistic?
Yes. Have you seen? Yes, it's pretty realistic. If you work your butt off and you get to that point, then yeah, you can do it. It'll be a video conference. It'll be a video conference. They will not see me in my underwear. Or not underwear, like my one class did. Anyway. Oh crap, you guys don't know about that. You might. I took a online class here, and I was sitting on my couch at home in my underwear, just lounging out, and I accidentally turned on the camera, and my entire class saw me bikini style on my couch in my underwear. Yep, that was embarrassing.
Wait, you were teaching a class?
No, I was attending the class. So, in the online courses, they have the screens of all the online students right there. So my entire class saw me on the big main 70-inch monitor, just lounging out my underwear. Oh, they didn't tell me. They started laughing. No one told me until the freaking the controller of the webcast was like, Anthony, turn off your camera. By that time, it was already too late. I'm like, oh shit. I turned off my. So there were two laughs. One when I appeared, and the other one was my fat ass going, oh shit. Don't do that. It's bad.
That's why you cover the camera.
You know what? That's true. That is true. I didn't do that.
David?
So that was an embarrassing moment. Not as embarrassing as having a full conversation with the person and then finding out that that actually wasn't the person you're talking to. Did that the other day too. All right, so what this was leading to before the tangent
Yeah.
was what?
Oh, sorry. You were leading up to.
What I was leading up to before this tirade, these big words, they have a C+ in Introduction to Literature. But what I was leading up to was creating a plan for yourself. All right. How many people in this room have a 5-year plan of where they expect to be in 5 years? So 3 yeses, 2 iffies. 10-year plan. 10-year plan. 20. So if there's no 20s, then there's probably no 30s. Okay. Logical. So what I suggest for each and every one of you is to start creating those plans if you already have them. And look at them. Right? Look at the feasibility of them. If I have a 1-year plan, right, and this 1-year plan is just to live, because quite honestly, that matters. 1 year from now, I'm going to be in college. Just freaking live it. You can come sit over here.
Oh.
How you doing?
Feeling pretty good.
Good. So, what I mean by those plans is that, you know, the 1-year plan, you should always have a 1-year plan. Where do you see yourself in a year? All right. What are you going to be doing? I don't care about wearing, just what are you going to be doing? What are your plans? If you're going to be in college, that's great. Have your course schedule mapped out. If you're planning on graduating, if you're looking for a job, rule of thumb, I heard this from a old retired general, who actually owned and operated a nonprofit to find veterans jobs. That was his whole thing. So that's from, you know, a good source. He said, if you're looking for a job, for every $10,000 a year you want to make from that job, that's about a month's worth of searching. So if you want to make $60,000 a year, then that equates to about 6 months of searching. Now, I'm not saying 6 months of searching. I'm not saying like, you know, because you can find one in a month, potentially, but that might not be the one for you. All right? Finding the job that works best for you, getting the right atmosphere, the right work atmosphere, direction, location, position, you know, all of those things go into it. Don't just jump on the first one that comes to you. See what options that you have, because you might get a better one. So utilize that rule of thumb. 1-year plan. 5-year plan. No one should still be in college in 5 years. If you are, you're probably doing something wrong. Realistically. Alright, you want to be a teacher? Cool. You want to be, and you know, who wants to be something else other than a teacher? Who want to be? Investment banker, engineer, business owner. There we go, entrepreneur. So you want to be different things. Look at what those things actually offer. Look at the feasibility. All right, for every single one of those different jobs, different things that you want to be, what do you bring to the table? All right, if you want to be an engineer, You don't have to answer this, but I want you to think about what specific trait do you bring to the table that makes you hireable more than other people? As a teacher, what brings you to the table that makes you being more hireable than everyone else? What salary does that position make? Teacher versus engineer. Maybe one of them might not be feasible. Say which one, teacher. No, but I mean, realistically, like if you want to do a job, all right, you want to hold a position, you want to do something, look at the feasibility of that position. Look at the feasibility of how much it's going to break you in versus how much you have to pay out. How much do you think it's going to take to live? If you can do that, then you should be fine. All right, I have a friend of mine where she has nothing but education. All right, she had a master's degree, she had a bachelor's, she had a master's. She had the master's with not enough experience to get the high-paying job to pay for her damn master's student loans. So you know what she did? She's getting another master's so that she could waive her student loans until such time where she gets enough more experience to actually make enough money to pay back her student loans. All right? That's a thing. That's miserable for everyone. So that's why I say, look at the feasibility of your choices. How much are you going to be in debt? What is going to be your financial situation 5 years from now? I know that sounds crazy, like I'm in college, I'm 18, my financial situation is going to be fucking non-existent, all right? But it may or may not be. And that's something that is important, because having a place to live is just as important, if not more important, than everything else. All right? So, looking 5 years out, what do you want to do that's reasonable? Where will you be financially, and can you afford it? If you can't, you can still do it if you prepare. That's why making that 5-year plan is essential. Is finding out where you want to be and having that goal and seeing if it's feasible now the way you're going, or what you have to change, because anything's doable. It just depends on how much you want to work. Some things require more work than others. This is a fact of life. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm simply asking you to see the realization of your goals and see what it's going to come to. Does that make sense? From that 5 years, go deeper. All right? Do some research. Do some research in the area, the field. Once you realize, once you found out what you want to do, what your plan is for that 5 years, do some research. All right? Look into what possibilities like have. What's the upward momentum? Like, does it take 10 years in order to move up from level 1? Or does it take 5? Does it take 2? Does it take 6 months? Look at the upward movement potential depending on the sector, the market, what's going on, so that you can see where you might be in 10 years. Ladies, gentlemen, children, all right? Children. It's going to happen. It might. I'm going to say it's going to happen, but if you have unprecedented sex, it can happen. All right, children's a natural thing in life. All right, so especially for females, not really men, it affects men, but women have to carry and birth the damn thing. All right, and have to deal with the repercussions of it afterwards. Some people have gestational diabetes, right, during pregnancy. Some people have rough pregnancies and are unable to work for months at a time. That's going to definitely throw up your plans right there. So coming to that realization, looking at that, what can happen biologically, and also looking into that as well, and incorporating that in there if you have the proper support from your family or your husband, boyfriend, whatever, girlfriend, whatever, I'll judge. All right, but understanding that that is a reality, that is a fact of life, that children do happen. And yes, they say everything's unplanned, you know, you're the result of a good night and a broken prophylactic. I mean, you know, what happens? Shit happens, right? But preparing for it. A lot of people don't prepare for children. And because of not preparing, not having adequate savings, not preparing for life, comes a lot of problems that come with it. So that's why 5-year plan has to be rock solid. All right. From there, then you have some wiggle room for your 10-year plan. From there, you have a shit ton of wiggle room for your 20. But preparing for retirement. Who plans to die early? Just me and her. Okay, cool. I mean, realistically, I've done so much stupid stuff. I never thought I'd make it past 30, so whatever. But preparing for retirement, preparing to have a legacy, right? How old are you? How old are you?
22, 18.
21.
But 31. 31. 31. So I'm about 10 years older than everyone in this room. Except for those who are 22, that makes nothing. But having a legacy, right? How often do you think about what the hell am I going to leave for the next people to follow me? Probably never. Maybe like once or twice, it's like a shower thought. All right? But that is something that you need to listen to. I mean, you know, age of sexual consent in Japan, I think it's like 12 or something like that. Like drinking age in different countries isn't 21.
Yeah.
It's less. It's like 16.
That's young.
Yeah. All right. So think about other people in the world today that are already more mature and doing a lot more things than you are as a possibility. You know, it's not a statistic, it's not a fact, it's a possibility. All right. You know, back in the day when a woman hit puberty, when she started to have her periods, that's when she was ready for childbirth. All right, that's when they were adults. All right. Things have changed in society. All right, it's not that way anymore. But you have to understand that even as an 18 to 22-year-old, you are an adult. You kill someone, you go to jail. You write a speeding ticket, you have to pay for it. You do drugs, you have to pay for it when you get caught. Whatever. But the thing is that you are responsible for all of your actions, right? But that also means that you're responsible for looking towards the future. And that every single one of you have a duty, in my opinion, maybe not yours, but in mine, you have a duty to look towards the future, to grasp that future and make it your own, to make sure that you are taken care of, because no one else will. Granted, some people have parents and you don't want to be that 40-year-old virgin living at home with your mommy and daddy. Some people do, hopefully none in this room. All right, you need to look to the future. You need to create those different plans because that's how you become successful. That's how you make video meetings in your underwear, is by looking towards the future and understanding what the hell do I need to do to make this happen. Because yes, it's going to take work. But is it impossible? No. And that is the sole point to this entire talk right now, is that it is not impossible. It may take some work. How much work is up to you, whether you want to do more work later because you're not prepared and stupid, or figure out what you have to do and plan it out. You do what you need to do, and then you do what you want to do. That's my spiel of plans, because that is how you succeed. Now, coming to the last thing, have you stayed? Anyway, the last part, I used to teach philosophy. I used to teach philosophy and ethics, psychology, when I was in the Marine Corps, because because my Marines, I ran them into the ground, I beat the shit out of them, I made sure that they were physically strong, that they could tackle any situation. But I also wanted to make sure that they were mentally strong to tackle any situation. Because when you start getting fired at, when you start firing at other people, when you kill someone for the first time, all right, it takes a toll on you. And you need to have that mental ability to understand who you are in order to cope with something like that. So I also incorporated ethics and psychological training into my training measurement for my Marines. And I would mentor them. For my younger ones, I would mentor them once a month. I would have a sit-down conversation with them. You know, what are they doing at work? What are they doing right? What are they doing wrong? What are they doing at home? Making sure that I had a complete picture. I knew when their kids' birthdays were, if they had them. I knew when their wife and girlfriend's birthdays were, so that we could get them, so that we as a shop could make sure that, you know, their significant others were taken care of, and also acknowledged for the shit that they have to put up with when I sent them home with a broken bone because he did something wrong. And, you know, I wanted to incorporate that type of mentorship into my workspace to make sure that I created and I trained a well-rounded person that could cover anything that got thrown at them. And I had multiple training sessions with them as a shop once every 2 weeks, making sure that they were both, you know, physically and mentally prepared, not only in the workspace, but also out in town. Like changing a freaking tire. Some people don't know how to do it. Some people in this room might not know how to change a tire. That's one of the skills, right? Life skills. But whenever they got promoted to my rank, they were no longer mine anymore. We, in the sense of the military, were then equals. So, when I found out that one of my Marines was getting promoted, I pulled them aside, I pulled them outside, I smoked at the time, so I bought a couple smokes and I said, and we'd have a conversation. And I would tell them of Plato's allegory of the cave. And first, who's ever heard of the allegory of the cave? All right, 2 of you. The allegory of the cave is it's a situation. It starts out, there is a man. This is my version, so it might not be the exact version. This is my teaching version. There is a man who is bound on his knees, face is locked. He can't move. His entire world, everything that he's ever seen, is the shapes on this wall in front of him. How they continuously move, they change, they seem like they flow and flicker, but that's all he's ever known. From birth to this moment, That is all that he has ever known was the shapes on this wall. And that it was a wall. And he breaks free of the bindings. And for the first time in his life, he's able to free himself and to look around. And what he sees is he sees people to the left and to the right in the same position he was in. He finds that there are more people other than him in there. There are more people in the same predicament that he was in. He finds that as he looks around, that there was more than just that wall. There was a ground that he never thought. He felt it, but he never saw it. There were other walls in this place that he never knew existed. He touched one, and it's the first time his hands ever felt coldness of stone. He looked behind them, and he saw different candles and different lights flickering. It was the first time he'd ever seen a color other than black and white. He'd never known that other colors existed other than black and white. And he saw different sticks hanging from the ceiling. And those sticks in front of the light were the shadows that were being shown on the wall. Now he knows how his entire existence came to be. His entire existence, everything that he had ever known, was a man-made instrument of sticks behind the flame, the shadows. As he continued to traverse this area, he ended up making his way out, feeling different things, having the sensation of dirt between his toes, dirt on his feet. Able to pick it up and feel it, to feel how it feels. And he ended up making his way outside where it was raining. Never saw water before. Didn't know how it fell from the sky, what a sky was, the different colors of the trees, of the grass. Now he experienced the full spectrum of the rainbow. First time he saw a rainbow, the sun, the clouds, and the rain. You can continue this sequence of events all the way up into infinity, discovering new things. The purpose of this is to show you that no matter what you know, there is always more that you do not know. And that it takes action in order to experience something new. Granted, there are times where you get thrown into situations and you learn things that are not your fault. But for the most part, it takes an action on your part in order to experience something new and to learn from it. And your universe, as you see it now, is ever expanding and will continue to expand until the day you die, if and only if you choose to let it. If you stay in that cave, then that is everything you will ever know. For some people, that's fine. But everyone has their own caves. Everyone has their own set of experiences that they've been through, what they know, what they perceive as their own reality. When in reality, there is so much more. But you would never know that unless you take that step out of that cave and continue to take moving steps forward to find that desert and experience what a desert is, to find a river and experience the feeling of floating, the feeling of a bath, the feeling of shade underneath a tree. Those are life experiences that each and every one of you must take an action to experience in your lives. And until you make those actions, you will never experience anything else. It is up to you, it is up to each and every one of you to move forward and to choose to move forward, to choose to step out of that cave and let the rain fall on you. It may be scary, it may be frightening, it may be fun, but you will never know until you take that step. And once you start, it is an action to continue taking more steps. And if you do not, you will be stagnant in your life. So, as my last thing I say to you is to not take steps, you know, to continue taking steps, all right? To experience life, to experience it with others. If you can, don't take steps alone. Take someone's hand and take steps together. But don't stop. Alright? There's so many things in this world that each and every one of us can experience. But you can also stop yourself from experiencing them. And that can narrow your view. And a lot of people don't realize that. But it is my hope, it is my wish that everyone in this room may now realize that it is your life. You choose what happens. You choose to make decisions, knowing most of the time what the consequences are of your actions. And you choose to experience new things and to grow as a person. And hopefully, as you continue to grow, you can sit here and do the same thing that I have done for other people. That is my